This is the accusation. They're throwing around the word treason.
I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016.
They're saying that Obama knew that Russia did not meddle in the election, did not have any impact in the election.
We must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history.
But yet promoted this idea.
James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years.
And then there's been some incredible clips of all these different news reporters, CNN and MSNBC, just saying over and over and over again, clear evidence of Russian collusion.
For 20 years, you had Obama and George W. Bush's Department of Justice go easy on this guy. They didn't fully investigate the case. They didn't show any curiosity about the case. And now Donald J. Trump is asking his Department of Justice to show full transparency. And somehow that's a criticism of Donald J. Trump and not Barack Obama and George W. Bush. If you want to criticize the people who aren't showing full transparency, you ought to go after the administrations that went easy on Jeffrey Epstein, the administrations that concealed this case for 20 years, and the administrations that failed to show full transparency.
Rogan doesn't just torch Hillary. He widens the blast radius to the whole political swamp, pointing out that while Clinton's scandals are a goldmine of contradictions, the real joke is how every administration before and after her played the same rigged game, from Bush to Obama, all the way to Trump, with Epstein's decades-long cover-up standing as the ultimate symbol of bipartisan secrecy. J.D. Vance jumps in to sharpen the blade, mocking how these so-called leaders preach transparency while guarding skeletons in closets so full they need a warehouse, and together they rip apart the polished legacies with the precision of snipers and the force of wrecking balls, leaving behind not just a roast of Hillary, but a demolition of the entire establishment's illusion of integrity.
What you know now, do you wish you had a third term? You know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats, looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
We know he wasn't really running the country.
Yeah.
We used to think he was actually running the country, and now they're like, no, he didn't even see those executive orders. That was all auto pen.
You know, first of all, I don't believe, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, whether you agree with Donald Trump or disagree with him, I don't believe in hectoring voters. I believe in persuading voters. Support is not something I'm given or something I'm owed. It's something you got to go out there and work for. So one, I just don't like the tone of going in. I mean, look, the better question for Barack Obama or anybody to ask is not why black men. It's not how dare you not vote for Kamala Harris.
Rogan launches into Obama like he's dismantling a stage set, mocking how the man who sold hope and change ended up governing with drone strikes and polished speeches that played more like TED Talks than leadership. He riffs on the contrast between Obama's movie star delivery and his bureaucratic output, joking that the president's greatest achievement might have been convincing Americans that charisma could substitute for action. And while the applause echoed, behind the curtain was a leader who mastered branding better than Silicon Valley but left behind a legacy that looked a lot more like carefully edited PR than actual transformation.
No. He gets a glass of Flint tap water, and I swear to God, he drinks it like this. Flushes.
Can I get some water? I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say
it's
that.
It's 100% a stunt. When was the last time a president stopped a speech to ask, can I get a glass of water? They would never do that. They would have water ready for him.
Rogan rips into Obama's image with the precision of a comic surgeon, painting him less as a trailblazer and more as a salesman in a suit, the kind who could slap a shiny label on a half-baked product and convince millions it was revolutionary. The Affordable Care Act becomes his prime example, a rollout Rogan describes as a glitchy app launch full of bugs, hidden fees, and promises that crashed the moment real users logged on. Proof, he says, that Obama's true gift wasn't policy, but packaging, turning setbacks into slogans and missteps into illusions of progress.
I think the best people age the hardest. I think Obama was probably like a very idealistic young man
Oh, Lord, what's going on now? Who's hollering? I can't even see it.
who really wanted to change the world. And that dude aged more than anybody.
I mean, I'm getting old, so I can't hear that well. I can't see that good.
Who aged the least? Trump. Trump just
This is something that
he just brushed that shit off his shoulders like it was nothing.
We knock on wood wherever we may have wood that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the...
Rogan goes after the obsession with Obama's image, mocking how a tan suit became a week-long national debate. Not because it mattered, but because the media preferred swooning over his look instead of grilling him on why wars outlasted his promises. He highlights the absurdity that Obama could greenlight a drone strike on a wedding overseas and still land on the cover of Vogue weeks later. If style alone defined leadership, Rogan jokes, Obama would still be in office. But in reality, style doesn't rebuild cities, cover bills, or repair broken systems.
The amount of backstabbing that's going on.
That's a very disrespectful attack on the American people who deserve the truth. They deserve to have faith and trust in the integrity of our democratic republic, which has been undermined by President Obama through his direction of this manufactured fake intelligence document, knowing that it was filled with lies.
Like when she got into office, you realize like you're not really in control of everything because there's another person who's in control of each individual department, and they'll stop whatever you're trying to do every step of the way. They get in the way of everything. What are you going to do? You're going to replace everybody?
Just as Rogan's roast hits peak intensity, J.D. Vance steps in with the first of his 3 punches. He tears into the myth of Obama's bond with the working class, dismissing it as nothing but a campaign prop. Vance argues that while Obama spoke often about middle America, he treated it more like scenery than substance. During his tenure, Rust Belt jobs didn't return. They vanished even quicker, replaced with lofty speeches about globalization's inevitability. Vance's strike lands clean, turning Obama's Midwestern photo ops into nothing more than staged political theater.
During this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
I don't understand how we got so toxic, so divided, and so bitter. And
He said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that.
Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did just as an intelligent person, a statesman. He's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You think you're going to do something and then you get into office and you're like, oh God, what a quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie about...
Rogan jumps back in, mocking Obama as the Democrats' top salesman of moral high ground. He rips into the irony of a president who preached transparency while running one of the most secretive administrations in years. From the DOJ hammering whistleblowers to cozy ties with Silicon Valley, Rogan says Obama didn't just play the political game. He rewrote the rules on hiding the ball while looking righteous. The roast spikes when Rogan drags Obama's Nobel Peace Prize, likening it to handing out a championship trophy before the season starts. Once in office, peace was shelved in favor of guarding the status quo. Rogan then skewers Obama's post-presidency as yachts, Netflix deals, and 6-figure speeches to the very corporations he once swore to check. The hypocrisy, Rogan says, writes itself, framed as the richest retirement plan ever for a man who claimed to hate corporate greed. It's a blow that doesn't just land, it sticks.
Because things are actually happening. Very different than most of the time when people get elected.
And I will shut down the Federal Department of Education, and we will move everything back to the state.
Most of the time when people get elected, they claim all these things when they're running for president. Then they get into office and not much changes.
Individualize education and do it with the love for their children.
And in fact, a lot of what they campaigned on, they don't practice at all. Great example is the Obama administration. The Hope and Change website had to be changed because there was a bunch of stuff in there about whistleblowers.
No, I don't think Mr. Snowden was a patriot. I called for a thorough review of our surveillance operations before Mr. Snowden made these leaks. My preference would have been for a lawful, orderly examination.
J.D. Vance takes his second shot, this time at Obama's handling of racial politics. Not in the trailblazing way his fans praised, but in how he used identity as armor against pushback. Vance argues Obama's real trick was making critics look morally suspect just for disagreeing with him. Meanwhile, the policies that might have closed wealth gaps or repaired broken systems got sidelined for lofty unity speeches. Vance rips open the contradiction, showing how Obama's image as a unifier often masked the moves of a politician, ready to divide whenever it worked to his advantage.
Say just a couple of things. First of all, the president has been very clear. We're not shielding anything. The president has directed the attorney general to release all credible information and, frankly, to go and find additional credible information related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. He's been incredibly transparent about that stuff, but some of that stuff takes time. You've got to assemble that stuff. You've got to compile that.
Rogan jumps back in, ripping Obama's foreign policy apart. He shatters the no-drama Obama image, pointing to Libya's chaos, Afghanistan's endless quagmire, and the Syria red line that was drawn, erased, and redrawn until it looked like a broken Etch-a-Sketch. Rogan argues that while Obama sounded like a statesman, his decisions left allies baffled and enemies emboldened. It wasn't leadership, it was cautious calculation wrapped in polished speeches.
Obama did it, and it's disgusting. It's a disgusting lie. Let's play it.
Said that there were very fine people on both sides of a white supremacist rally.
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides. I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists. Okay?
See, that's crazy. I have never seen that last part of it
because the news has said that lie over and over and over and over.
The roast goes personal as Rogan targets the cult-like admiration Obama still commands. He laughs at how some treat him like a retired superhero ready to save America, while ignoring that today's problems stem from choices made during his tenure. Rogan compares it to blaming the current homeowner for bad wiring installed by the previous one. J.D. Vance delivers his final strike, critiquing Obama's lasting influence on the Democratic Party. He argues that Obama's style-over-substance approach trained a generation of politicians to prioritize branding over results. The Instagram-era politics, where likes outweigh legislation, traces directly back to Obama's playbook, leaving a party focused on optics but disconnected from reality.
Like, I've had candid conversations with Tulsi Gabbard about what it was like.
It's a disservice to the American people that former President Obama's office and others who are criticizing the transparency that is being delivered by releasing these documents. They are doing a disservice to the American people and trying to deflect away from their culpability in what is a historic scandal.
She's a person, tries to be friends with everybody, tries to reach across the aisle. She's got that whole aloha spirit.
The answer to that statement can very clearly be found throughout all of the documents that we have released, showing that Russia took action to try to sow discord in the election, but showed no preference for or against.
Rogan closes with a relentless blitz, dissecting Obama as a master illusionist who dazzled crowds with charm while the real work, or absence of it, remained hidden behind the curtain. Hope became a marketed brand and change was reduced to a hollow buzzword. He could convince half the nation the scoreboard was broken while the other half's points kept piling up. In Rogan's framing, Obama isn't tragic or villainous. He's a cautionary example of a populace seduced by presentation over performance. Every measured word, every dramatic pause, every camera-ready smile was meticulously staged. People remembered the feeling he evoked, not the results he delivered. Rogan tears apart this untouchable image, showing that every slogan, pause, and polished cadence was stripped bare, leaving not brilliance but mere packaging. A masterclass in selling mediocrity to a public desperate to believe they were buying greatness. Rogan's dissection of Obama's so-called political genius was precise, cutting straight to the calculated dodges behind the image. He didn't merely catalog mistakes. He exposed the recurring pattern of grand promises followed by quiet pivots when it came time to deliver. To Rogan, this wasn't leadership. It was political theater, where applause mattered more than actual results. Every replay of Obama's self-congratulatory moments hit like a punchline no one wanted to laugh at, because the joke was on the country. J.D. Vance then returned, targeting the legacy Obama touted most: middle-class revitalization. Brick by brick, Vance dismantled the narrative. The numbers revealed not a champion for working people, but a man painting over decay. Factories stayed silent, wages didn't spike, yet the speeches gleamed brighter than ever. Vance's point landed hard. Despite all the rhetoric of hope, many communities were left with nothing beyond a staged photo op. Rogan jumped straight in, tearing into how Obama's post-presidency became the elite lifestyle he once claimed to resist. Netflix deals, multi-million-dollar book tours, sprawling estates, all perks of the global upper class, packaged with the same charm that once won him votes. Rogan framed him not as a retired leader, but as a rebranded mogul, cashing in while loyal fans still defended him as though he were out there fighting for the people. What made the roast hit so hard was Rogan's mocking delivery. It wasn't angry, it was incredulous, as if he couldn't believe people kept falling for it. The healthcare rollout fiasco? Rogan turned it into a biting joke about the best communicator in politics being outsmarted by his own website. Foreign policy blunders? He mocked them as sketches about a man who treated a Nobel Peace Prize like a license to improvise on the world stage. Then J.D. Vance dropped the hammer, reminding everyone that the Obama years weren't a golden age, but a warm-up act for the chaos that followed. The gap between promises and results, the staged optimism that crumbled into cynicism, was what fueled the political earthquake America is still living through. Rogan pushed the critique further, painting Obama not as a victim of history, but as one of its architects, the man who helped construct the frustration that reshaped American politics. By the time they wrapped up, the shine was gone, the myth shattered, and what remained wasn't a transformative leader, but a slick, media-savvy politician who convinced millions that style could replace substance and polished speeches could stand in for real results.